welcome back to Learn Tarot Card Games. Today, this is something that I've been thinking about doing for a little while, where basically, as I've said before, I'm still a beginner in a lot of these games, and one of the ones I really enjoy is Königrufen, but I was really interested in doing a tutorial where I get some experienced players to have a look at a bunch of hands that I deal out randomly, and they tell me if they would bid on them and what they would if so, and talk about why. So hopefully if you're a beginner, this will help you jump into the game a lot quicker. And the experts that I have spoken to are firstly Markus Mair, who is from Treffpunkt Tarock, which is a Tarock club in Innsbruck, Austria, and John McLeod from the website pagat.com. Both of these guys, besides being skilled players, also have a lot of really great resources online for people who want to play. John's website pagat.com has the rules for basically every card game that has ever existed, and Markus's website Treffpunkt Tarock has a lot of stuff which is really helpful, a lot of really great tips for how to play Tarock better as well. Both of them will be linked down there. You'll have found them. Now, if you've never played Königrufen before, first of all, if you click the link up here, you can watch my tutorial, Königrufen for Beginners. But without any further ado, we're just going to jump into the hands that I showed the guys. All of them, I promise, I dealt completely randomly out onto the table. I didn't cook any of these up on purpose to show anything. Let's just jump in. So first of all, thank you, Markus, for joining me today to talk cards.
Yeah, welcome.
Yeah, and basically what we're going to do is I'd like to show you some hands that I dealt out completely randomly this afternoon, took photos of, and get your advice as a much more experienced player than I am, which of them you'd bid on and what you would bid, and maybe we'll talk about if you give some reasons why. And mostly I'm sort of pitching this towards, people who are beginners or fairly new to it, so they can sort of get some tips from that as well. Okay, sounds good?
Sounds good.
Okay, alrighty. Now, can you see that?
Yes, I can.
Perfect, excellent. So now this one, this is, I think this was number 2 that I sent you. So when you get a hand that looks like this, what's sort of the first thing that you would look at while you're assessing it?
Yeah, what's first at the first sight, I'd say there is a lot of figures.
Mm-hmm.
So my first thought is maybe there is a Dreier possible,
mm-hmm.
but it's only one suit I can cover with the king,
mm-hmm.
and 2 open suits with no king. Only one other suit, the diamonds with a fork. I don't know if we say it in English.
Yeah, we do.
Yeah. So I would say pass with this hand.
You'd pass on that one.
Yeah.
Would you attempt a Dreier if you were forehand, or would it still be too risky?
No, it's still too risky.
No problem at all.
Okay, so we just start with the case where forehand has just said forehand and then we're bidding
I think so.
against them. Okay, so the second one, this again is a pass if you're not in forehand.
Sure.
I then can't think what you would think of bidding with that.
Yeah. So just to make sure we're looking at the same one, this is the one that's got quite long colours in it. So if I share my screen...
It's got lots of diamonds and spades. So I suppose the thing that's good about this hand is that whoever does play might get a nasty surprise.
Mm-hmm.
through the uneven distributions, so you're kind of quite looking forward to it, but there isn't anything you can actually bid. If I'm forehand, again I'm gonna just say forehand, and then when it comes back to me, I could call the King of Hearts. There are different schools of thought about what to call. I'm in favor of calling a singleton, preferably a singleton picture. Ideally a singleton queen is best.
Essentially just so that you don't get trumped on the first round with that colour? Or
well, but also if you've got the queen, it's good because if your partner's going for a king ultimo, then you can take that trick. So you get an extra tempo.
Okay.
Winning the first round of the suit.
Okay. Excellent.
So again, I think that would stand a roofer, or you could play a Trishakan because the trumps will go fairly quickly, so you're not going to get into too bad trouble with those suits. So either will work.
So when I dealt this one, I thought this one to me looked quite interesting because there's lots of Tarocks, but it's missing all the high ones.
Yes.
What would you do with this one?
Yeah, This is a very good hand. You're right, the high trumps are missing, but you've got 9 trumps and 2 kings, so no open suits. So you should be fine with a Dreier. If you don't like to bid so risky, you could also say a Besseroffer and with Bagat, and then try to make Kakadu and Quabil and maybe Gaia as well. But I'd rather go for a Dreier.
It's worth the
Because
risk, yeah.
yeah, it's good enough.
Yeah. And so with this one as well, would it make any difference whether you had the lead or not, or it'd probably still be a Dreier?
No difference. If you are a forehand, if you are in the forehand, I would not bid the Sechser Dreier.
Yeah.
Because I'd rather hear what my contrahands are going to bid.
Yeah.
So and then play a Dreier afterwards.
Okay.
So the others, so I can hear. Okay, nobody has made a contract.
Yeah.
So I'm going for a Dreier, and even if the talent is good, I could even announce higher birds.
Yeah. Excellent. Okay. Alrighty.
It's a deceptive hand because the problem with it is you've got your trumps are so small.
Yeah. And that's what's interesting about it, I thought. You've got the 2 kings and then a long run of Tarocks, but you're missing all the high ones.
Missing all the high Tarocks. And I think I would go in the rule set. We've got Besseroofer, haven't we?
Yeah.
How many birds have we got? 1 and 3. 1, 2, 3. I don't know whether we've got 4 in the birds or not. But anyway, I would go a Besseroofer with this, or a Pagat roofer if that's what the rules say we have to bid. Because if you play Dreier, the risk is that you're just going to keep losing. You're just going to keep losing the lead every time. You're going to try and play your trumps. But every time you play a trump, you'll lose the lead, and you may never get to make those nice birds, and you may even lose the game. I would say the kings are nice, but the king of clubs isn't really completely safe. So king of hearts you ought to make. So I would tend to go for the Besseroofer for a more secure profit and less likely to be contraed in my Pagat Ultimo. And if my partner's got some good trumps, I'll hope to make the Kakadu and maybe the Kvapil as well. If I've got a good partner or a good talon. With the Dreier, you might be lucky. If I'm in forehand, then I've got to, then surely I'm going to play Zexa Dreier.
Okay.
And hope for some good trumps in the talon. It can go wrong. If I get 6 useless suit cards in the talon, that Zexa Dreier could be expensive, but I would do it.
So this one here has the Scoos and it has a couple of other high. It's got the 18 and the 19. But other than that, to me, looks relatively weak. But I mean, what would be your thoughts with it?
You're right. It's a card where you think, well, should I go for a Dreier or should I say a solo offer? There are 2 high trumps and the Scoos, and 6 trumps, and altogether you have a king and 3 spades. But you have to get rid of 3 cards. You have 3 open suits, and it's very rare that you find 3 trumps in the talon. So if you're very risky, you can go for a Dreier, but I'd prefer to play a very strong solo roofer in this case.
Okay.
Try to make the King Ultimo if the partner announces it.
So which suit would you call hearts for the king?
Hearts, yes, hearts.
Okay, to protect the knight on the.
Yeah, maybe the partner has the queen, so I can protect the.
Yeah. Okay, excellent. So sometimes I've heard people talk about a rule of 12, where they sort of say, so the high Tarocks are worth 2 each, and then the lower trumps are worth 1 each, and then kings are also worth 1, and they try to sort of count 12 together. Do you do that kind of thing, or you don't really worry about?
I'm personally, I do not do it to see if for my hands, but it's a very good rule for beginners.
Yeah. Okay.
But you miss, you only cover, with this rule, you only cover the conservative Dreiers.
Okay.
But there are Dreiers you can bid without, you
Yeah.
would never make with the 12-point rule.
Yeah. Yeah.
But you miss, and you would miss them.
Okay. Okay.
But for beginners, it's fine.
This is tricky.
Mm.
You can't go Besseroofer because you haven't got a bird.
Mm-hmm.
It's a nice-ish sort of hand.
Mm-hmm.
Be a nice hand if somebody would call you.
Yeah.
Call the king of spades.
Mm-hmm.
The problem with the solo roofer is you've got 3 suits with losers,
Mm-hmm.
and ideally with a solo roofer you want to have more either the king or a void
Mm-hmm.
in the suits that you're not calling.
Mm-hmm.
So it could be a solo roofer calling the king of hearts,
Mm-hmm.
and I'd call the king of hearts so as to save my knight on the king
Mm-hmm.
if the partner doesn't go for the ultimo.
Mm-hmm.
Or it could be a Dreier.
Mm-hmm.
It's quite close to a Dreier. You've got 3 big trumps.
Mm-hmm.
You've got that nice run of spades to the king.
Mm-hmm.
So if you pick up, if you're lucky with the talon, that could be a good Dreier. And
Mm-hmm.
you'll probably start by leading your spades.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, when you get the lead, you'll lead your spades. And you'll
Yeah.
void as many suits as you can and keep any spades that you get.
Yeah.
And you'll use the spades as kind of substitute low trumps to draw some trumps out.
Mm-hmm. Okay, so and then this one here,
This would be a bit. This would be a pass.
a definite pass.
You could go for a battler, but it's very risky because you will make the diamonds are very dangerous.
Yeah. This one I sort of looked at and tried to work out if there's any negative spieler that you could play with this.
You've got too many queens and things.
Yeah. Even though there's all these suit cards, there's only one bottom card, I think. Oh, actually, I can't see with that spade whether it's the 7 or an 8. But
no, you can't tell. But it doesn't really. Matter. It doesn't really matter. Well, if you play a battle, to start with, you've got the risk of trumping a heart if they just lead hearts twice. If you play a piccolo, then the question is where you can't really guarantee winning it. Where's your trick coming from? If they don't want you, you haven't really got much control with this hand. You're a bit in the hands of the defense as to what they choose to do. And I think that's I guess some people might bid a negative game with that, but I think you'd be making a loss on average.
Excellent. So this one's a hard pass from you.
This is a pass, and in forehand it's a Trish Arkin.
Excellent. Okay, so this one here.
Yeah, that's a hand I like.
Okay.
Everybody else, not everybody, but most players would say pass with this hand, or may go for a piccolo or something.
Yeah.
2 kings or piccolo where. No, piccolo where it's not a piccolo. It's not a piccolo. You have no heart, no clubs. But I liked my favorite bit with this kind of cards, this kind of hands, is a Bagatropher. Because I expect two trumps in the talon, so I have 6 trumps. I can get rid of the 2 diamonds, and I have maybe a long suit with the spades. Yeah. And I can cover the hearts and the diamonds with the kings, and the clubs with the trumps. So I have a partner. So yeah, I bid the Bagatropher. And
is that a good rule of thumb? You can hope for 2 trumps in the talon. Yes,
that's what I expect. It's 2.4 Tarock in the talon statistically.
Yeah. And that's what it averages out to.
Okay. I expect 2 of them. Yeah. I count with 2, but I expect them on one side of the talon.
Okay.
Because it's 2.4, so that's my.
Yeah. Okay. So this was interesting. Again, you've got long colors, and then you've got those trumps, but they're all really low. What could you do with this?
I'm not going to bid with this.
Yeah.
This is the thing with Königrufen, you only bid. I don't know, 1 hand in 3 or something. A lot of the time you pass. You can't expect to do something with every hand.
Mm.
What can you bid? It's not any kind of colour thing because you've only got 2 tricks.
Mm.
It's not a negative game because you've got 2 kings to win and you might have to trump a heart.
Mm.
I can't think what you could do with it. It's a pass, and in forehand you could call a king. You could play a roofer, and you could hope for some trumps in the talon. Given that everyone had passed, then maybe there's something in the talon. And maybe in this case you call the king of spades and just
Hope for the
or
best.
maybe you call the king of clubs and trump it with your pagat, or maybe you find a club. I think I'd probably call the king of clubs.
Okay. Alrighty. Not a Trishakan?
No, they've got 2 kings. I can make a trick with the pagat probably.
Mm-hmm.
And my partner might have something decent. I mean, this is a no. I wouldn't play Trishakan with that because I might get too many points on my kings. And I think Roofer's a bit underrated, really, because it's not very expensive when it loses, and the pan can get a lot better.
And there's still points to get from bonuses, I guess, as
And
well.
there's points to get. Well, yes, I'm not sure what
Maybe.
bonuses we're going to get for this. You're probably not going to make a bird with so few trumps. I mean, if you get a really wonderful talon, you might. You're going to lead your spades in a roof. You just keep leading spades.
Okay, so this one here.
Yeah, that's tempting for a tricolor there. Because I lead the 17 and hope that the squeeze is falling on the 17.
Yeah, and then you'd win with the 20 and the 21.
And even if the squeeze is on my left side, I would be able to make, if it's not falling in the first trick, I would be able to make the 2 tricks with the 20 and the 21 if the squeeze is on my left side.
Yeah, but if you were playing with a rule set with no tricolor, that would just be a straight pass, you think? Or?
Yeah, if I am in the forehand and I'm very risky, I could play a Solodreier as well.
Yeah, okay.
But I wouldn't do it because I haven't got the squeeze and I have no points to discard. So I just say pass.
Yeah. Okay. This one again, where we've got the long run of hearts here. But
it's no use at all. This is a pass. Be interested to know if Markus has bid on some of these hands I'm passing on. But I can't see what you can bid on that. It's not a solo. Not a solo roofer. It's not a negative contract because I suppose you might gamble a Zwickelo and lead the 20, but it's pretty dodgy.
So what do you do?
That's definitely a bit.
Yeah.
Probably a Solodreier because
really? Okay. Yep.
Yeah, you don't have to discard anything to improve your card. It's already perfect.
Yeah.
Of course, you can hope for 20, 21, and 16 maybe in the talon, and then say Valat and Ansvalat.
Yeah.
But if you play this card, if you bid a Solodreier right away, you can hopefully make the 5, the fifth last trick, and get 10 points for it. And you will definitely win the Solodreier.
Okay. So what is the minimum in your hand to bid a Solodreier that you would suggest? Like, is there a number of Tarocks you generally can, or does it depend on the assortment as well?
Yeah, there is no such rule
to
say in one sentence when it is a Solodreier.
How often do you see somebody successfully play a Solodreier?
It's rare because you always hope to have to be able to announce Valat with a talon. So probably as most hands you try to improve and first bid a Dreier.
Mhm.
But you will always go to a Solodreier when somebody else spits a contract higher than a Dreier.
Mhm.
But I prefer a Solodreier right away with this hand.
Let's have a look at the next one. The next one, I promised I didn't deal on purpose. This came out like it was. Maybe it was a case of me not shuffling the deck well enough, but it's a nice hand. The next one.
Yeah, I never get this hand.
No, well, this is the only time I've seen it.
Well, I suppose this is a Solodreier.
Mhm. I mean, if this isn't, then what is? Would be my question.
Well, you'd like to have the 21.
Yeah, sure.
And what you'd really like to have is a bird, because all the bonuses are doubled in a Solodreier, being a solo contract.
Mhm.
So you may lose the king of spades if they lead spades. If it can go to bad splits. The thing about it is, if you go Dreier, what you're going to do, you'll substitute a trump for the queen of spades, and then beyond that, you'll be throwing away trumps if there are trumps in the talon. But then if there are trumps in the talon, then they're in the talon anyway. So maybe you can put those points in the talon. I'd go Solodreier with that.
So this one, there's not much you can do with this.
No.
No.
Looks like a Farmdreier at the first sight.
Yeah, I know. That's what I was wondering as well. But yeah.
But if you're in the forehand and you're going to lead the clubs, then you will make this suit is yours. But that's it, and it's only 6.
So I mean, if you were very lucky and you picked up another king or 2 kings in the talon, but that's too big a risk.
Yes, I would say pass.
Yeah. Okay. I really like
you're able to play a negative contract as well because you have no spades and no hearts.
Yeah.
So yeah.
So basically, to bid a battle or a piccolo, you really need all of the suits covered.
Yes, you need to be 4 suited, or at least, or you have no trumps. Then of course you don't need to have 4.
Then you can work out how to lose them all. Yeah. Okay.
And it's only one end card here. There's the 7 of clubs. All other cards are possible winners.
Yeah.
Okay. So again, this one, I mean, it's interesting having that really long run of clubs, but I don't know what I could do with it.
Well, if you were in forehand, you could run and you could play Farben solo, you could run the clubs, but it wouldn't give you enough points to win the game. People reckon that in order to win a Farben solo by that method, by just reeling off your tricks, you need 8 tricks. Ideally. Maybe you could get away with 7, but 6 doesn't give you enough points, because you'll get all the club points, and maybe you'll get the trull if they have to trump with the trull, which they might or might not, depending how long their trumps are. So, but that's the trull and 1 suit, and the rest of it you lose. So if you're not forehand, then you won't even ever get clubs. You'll never get to play your clubs. You could even lose all the tricks. So it's not a Farben solo or even a Farben Dreier, because why should the kings be in the talon? And so in forehand, I think this is a Trishaken.
So hope that essentially you'll be able to throw the king on someone else's.
You don't mind about throwing the king because it'll be trumped.
Yeah.
And if you lead clubs, if the clubs are split very evenly, you can be forced to take a trick with the 10, which is only 1 point, so that's okay. You're never going to take the king of clubs with that. The only trick that you might take in a Trishaken is the Jack of Diamonds.
Mhm.
If somebody, you'll start by leading your 15.
Mhm.
Oh no, well you might have to rough. Yeah, okay. So you'll start by leading your 15. If they lead a heart or a spade, you'll have to rough it. Then you'll lead your third trump.
Mhm.
And if the player with the King of Diamonds, which is more likely the player with the King of Diamonds, underleads it,
Mhm.
you'll win with the Jack of Diamonds and then lead another trump.
Mhm.
But Trishaken's okay. A roofer, you're a bit short in trumps, really.
Mhm.
It's not, I don't know, it doesn't appeal to me as a roofer.
Yeah.
There doesn't seem to be enough good things that can happen.
So just stick to a Trishaken on that
I
one.
just stick to a Trishaken, so I think that's a total pass. Disappointing though it is, but again, it's a game where it's a hand where you look forward to someone else trying to play a contract because they're not going to expect that distribution.
Mm. Mm. So just enjoy being in the defense.
Yes. Yes.
My general advice is to be just bid and rather bid than miss a contract.
Okay.
And lose a lot of games at the beginning, but because by losing you will learn a lot. By not bidding, you don't learn anything.
So there you are, lots of advice on passing.
That's part of the game. That's part of the fun.
And it's a question of, there's also a question with any of these games, if you're playing a tournament, as to whether you're trying to come top in the tournament, in which case you might want to take more risks in order to make a big score, because you don't really mind that much about making a big negative score. But if you're playing a normal game for stakes, small stakes as we normally do, then you're trying to make a profit.
Yeah.
So then you care more about. You don't take such big risks in a way.
Okay, that was my conversation with Markus, Mair and John McLeod. Hopefully you learned something interesting there. If you have anything to say about any of the hands, by all means leave a comment below, and we can chat further. But it's always interesting seeing two different players have a look at the same thing and maybe pull some different ideas out or spot different things that might be of use to you. Okay, so don't forget to subscribe to the channel, and we will see you next time.